Everything you know about history is a lie. The story of humanity, as told by scholars and institutions, is an edited version, a curated selection of half-truths carefully crafted to keep you in the dark. But beneath the surface of this mainstream history lies something far older, far more powerful, and far more dangerous to those who seek control. The Emerald Tablets are not just ancient artifacts. They are a gateway to a knowledge that defies time, space, and even death itself. Their words have been whispered through secret societies, hidden in alchemical texts, and encrypted within the myths of fallen civilizations. But make no mistake, this knowledge was never meant for the masses. It was safeguarded for those who are ready to see beyond the illusion, those who can handle the truth. If what is written on these tablets is real, then everything we understand about reality is incomplete. And the deeper we go, the more undeniable it becomes. There is a reason why history books never mention the Emerald Tablets. They are not just relics of a forgotten civilization. They are a direct challenge to everything you have been taught about reality. Said to be written by Thoth, the Atlantean Priest-King, these tablets hold a knowledge that stretches far beyond the physical world, beyond what modern science is willing to acknowledge. Thoth was no ordinary figure. Described as immortal, his wisdom spanned across centuries, his influence stretching from Egypt to Greece and beyond. He was not merely a god in some dusty mythology, nor just a ruler of a lost civilization. He was a being of unimaginable intelligence, possessing a knowledge that defied all human limitations. The Emerald Tablets, written in an indestructible form, were his message to those who would one day awaken. The story of Thoth begins in Atlantis, a civilization far more advanced than anything we know today. According to the tablets, Atlantis was not some mythical city. It was real, and its people possessed a deep knowledge of cosmic energy, interdimensional travel, and the very structure of reality itself. But just like all great civilizations that rose too high, Atlantis fell. Corruption, greed, and the misuse of power led to its destruction, a lesson that echoes throughout the annals of history. Before its final collapse, Thoth, knowing what was to come, took the sacred wisdom of Atlantis and brought it to a new land, Egypt. There, he laid the foundations for what would become one of the greatest civilizations in history, a civilization that still carries the faint echoes of Atlantean knowledge. Thoth became known as the god of wisdom, the keeper of secrets, the one who recorded all knowledge. In Greek culture, he became Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, the father of alchemy, mysticism, and Hermetic philosophy. But why do these connections exist across cultures, across time periods that should have no way of influencing one another? Why do we see the same figure under different names, always tied to forbidden knowledge, to higher states of consciousness, and to the mastery of life itself? The answer is simple. This knowledge has always been here, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those with the eyes to see it. The Emerald Tablets themselves are unlike any other ancient texts. Unlike fragile scrolls or manuscripts, they were written on a mysterious green material that is said to be unbreakable, resistant to time, and incapable of decay. No known metal or stone matches its description. The text upon them is written in a language so ancient that it predates even the oldest Egyptian hieroglyphs, suggesting that the knowledge contained within them comes from a civilization far older than history dares to acknowledge. These tablets were not meant to be destroyed or erased like so many other suppressed teachings. They were meant to survive the ages. But who decided that this knowledge should remain hidden? Who benefits from a world where people remain blind to their own potential? There are things written in these tablets that have been deliberately obscured, teachings that reveal the truth about our place in the universe, the nature of reality, and the power that lies within each of us. Some of these secrets are too controversial to be discussed openly, but if you are ready to go deeper, join our free newsletter, Insights Academy, where we share the knowledge that cannot be revealed here. For a limited time, you will also receive a free digital copy of the Kybalion, one of the most powerful Hermetic texts ever written. Sign up using the link in the description. The mystery surrounding the Emerald Tablets is not just about their content, but about their purpose. Why were they written in a form that would last forever? Why do they speak of things that modern science is only beginning to explore? Energy fields, dimensions beyond our perception, the ability to transcend physical limitations. If these tablets were truly the work of an enlightened being, then they are more than just historical artifacts. They are a blueprint for transformation, a roadmap to unlocking the abilities that have been hidden from us for centuries. But Thoth's greatest secret was not just wisdom. It was the key to something far more powerful. He claimed to have discovered the path to immortality, not through physical preservation, but through mastering the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. If this is true, then death itself may not be the end, but a doorway to something much, much greater. The Emerald Tablets do not just tell the story of an ancient civilization. They reveal the very structure of existence itself. The greatest fear of mankind has always been death. Every civilization, every culture, every religion has wrestled with the same profound question: what happens when we die? Is it the end, or merely a transition? The Emerald Tablets do not speak in riddles about this. They do not comfort with poetic metaphors or empty reassurances. They state with absolute certainty that death is an illusion, a veil that hides the deeper truth of our existence. Thoth did not just claim to have knowledge of the afterlife. He claimed to have mastered it. He did not merely study the cycles of life and death. He broke free from them, and if his words are to be believed, so can we. The Emerald Tablets describe a system of reincarnation, not as a belief, but as a law of existence, as real and unchanging as gravity. Thoth speaks of existing beyond time, of consciously choosing when and where to be reborn. He describes the ability to move between bodies, to retain memories across lifetimes, to exist outside the rigid constraints of linear time. But this power is not freely given. It is earned through knowledge, through discipline, through understanding the deeper structure of reality itself. According to the tablets, most people die and are pulled back into the cycle, reborn without memory, trapped in an endless loop of forgetting and rediscovery. But those who awaken, those who understand the true nature of the soul, can break free. They can choose their rebirth, choose their purpose, and ultimately transcend the cycle altogether. This idea is not unique to the Emerald Tablets. Many ancient spiritual traditions describe something eerily similar. The Tibetan Book of the Dead details how to navigate the afterlife consciously, guiding the soul toward liberation rather than another rebirth. Hinduism speaks of moksha, the breaking of the karmic cycle, the realization that the self is infinite. The Gnostics, the Hermeticists, the mystery schools of the ancient world, all of them hinted at a knowledge that led to freedom from the reincarnation trap. But why is it that these teachings were suppressed? Why is it that modern society tells us that death is final, that our consciousness is nothing more than a byproduct of the brain? Because a population that fears death is a population that can be controlled. A population that believes life is one fleeting moment of existence will live in fear, will cling to materialism, and will seek comfort in external authority. but a population that knows they are eternal. That is a force that cannot be governed. The Emerald Tablets do not just explain that life continues beyond death. They explain how to take control of that transition. Thoth speaks of energy fields, of vibrational frequencies, of aligning the soul with higher dimensions. He describes a process of raising one's consciousness, of shedding the limitations of the physical body to enter a state of existence beyond time. And here is where modern science begins to catch up with this ancient wisdom. The study of near-death experiences, the strange phenomena observed in quantum physics, the testament of mystics and meditators who have accessed altered states of reality. All of it points to the same truth. Consciousness is not confined to the brain. It is not bound by the body. It is something far greater, something that exists beyond the physical, beyond death. But this knowledge is dangerous to those who wish to maintain power. If people understood that their existence does not end when their body dies, the entire structure of fear-based control would collapse. Governments, religions, and corporations thrive on the fear of loss, the fear of suffering, the fear of the unknown. But what happens when there is no fear? What happens when people remember that they have always existed and will always exist? They wake up. They refuse to be manipulated. They begin to seek higher knowledge. Real knowledge, the kind that leads to freedom. This is what the Emerald Tablets offer, a path to breaking free from the cycle of life and death, a path to awakening the full potential of consciousness. And those who follow this path do not just read about the secrets of immortality, they experience them. They learn to separate their awareness from the physical form, to navigate realms beyond this one, to return with wisdom from dimensions beyond human perception. This is not fantasy. This is not superstition. It is a knowledge that has been buried, locked away, hidden in symbols and in secret societies for millennia. But if Thoth mastered these cycles, if he truly broke free from the wheel of reincarnation, then the question remains, where is he now? Did he ascend beyond our reality, or is he still here, watching, guiding those who are ready to see? The tablets hint that those who achieve this level of mastery are never truly gone. They move through time, through dimensions, unseen by those still trapped in the illusion of physical reality. They wait for those who seek the truth, those who prove themselves worthy of the next level of understanding. And the deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that this is only the beginning. Because the Emerald Tablets do not just explain how to escape death. They explain the very laws that govern the universe itself. They reveal the structure of reality, the forces that shape our existence, and how those who understand them can reshape their own world. What if the hidden teachings of Thoth go beyond immortality? What if they reveal the very fabric of creation itself? Reality is not what it seems. Everything we experience, the physical world, our emotions, even time itself, is governed by unseen forces, patterns that dictate the very structure of our existence. The Emerald Tablets do not describe reality in the way that modern science does. They do not tell us that we are helpless passengers in a mechanical universe ruled by chance and randomness. Instead, they reveal something far more profound, something that ancient mystics, spiritual masters, and even quantum physicists are only beginning to understand. Reality is not solid. It is not fixed. It is shaped by laws, and those laws are not just external forces acting upon us. They respond to consciousness itself. Thoth did not speak of the world in terms of mere matter and energy. He described laws of the universe that extend beyond physicality, laws that govern both the material and the unseen. These teachings were later absorbed into Hermetic philosophy, which formed the foundation of alchemy, mysticism, and the secret teachings hidden within ancient civilizations. The law of mentalism, the law of vibration, the law of correspondence. These are not abstract concepts, but fundamental principles that shape the world around us. And those who understand them can bend reality itself. The law of mentalism states that all is mind, that everything we experience is a projection of consciousness. The physical world is not something separate from us. It is an extension of our thought, our perception, our belief. Ancient texts, quantum physics, and even modern neuroscience are all converging on the same idea. The mind does not merely interpret reality, it creates it. What if everything you have ever experienced, every limitation you believe in, is simply the result of a mental construct you were taught to accept? What if reality is far more fluid, far more responsive to thought than we have ever been led to believe? The law of vibration takes this even further. Nothing is truly solid. Everything, from the densest rock to the most fleeting thought, is composed of vibrating energy. Thoth described reality as layers of frequency, each vibrating at its own level. The only difference between one state of being and another is its vibrational level. This aligns perfectly with what science is now discovering, that matter is not truly solid, but is energy condensed into form. What the Emerald Tablets suggest, however, is that this vibration is not just an unconscious property of the universe. It can be controlled. This is where the hidden knowledge begins to surface. If vibration determines form, and if the mind influences vibration, then reality itself can be shaped by thought. This is not just mysticism. It is the basis of manifestation, of energy work, of spiritual transformation. Then there is the law of correspondence, the principle that as above, so below, as within, so without. This is the idea that the same forces that govern the universe also govern the self. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. The ancient sages understood this long before modern science even had the tools to glimpse it. The human body is structured like the cosmos. The patterns found in galaxies are also found within our very cells. This is not a coincidence. It is a system of universal reflection, a structure that allows those who understand it to move between worlds. If the external world is a mirror of the internal, then true transformation does not come from changing external circumstances. It comes from changing within. These laws were never meant to be public knowledge. They were hidden, buried in symbolism, encoded in esoteric texts that only the initiated could understand. Why? Because they offer real power, the kind of power that dismantles illusions and removes control from those who seek to impose it. If thought shapes reality, then what happens when an entire civilization believes it is weak, powerless, and subject to forces beyond its control? It becomes exactly that. The greatest trick ever played on humanity was convincing us that we are separate from the forces that shape our existence. But those who awaken, those who grasp these laws and live by them, begin to see through the illusion. They begin to realize that their thoughts, their beliefs, their very state of being determines the reality they experience. The implications of this are enormous. If mental energy influences physical form, if vibration controls manifestation, if the self and the cosmos are mirrors of one another, then reality is something that can be rewritten. This is why these teachings were buried, why those in power have always sought to keep people in a state of ignorance. If people understood that their consciousness is not a passive observer, but an active force in creation, the entire system that thrives on control would collapse. And this is only the beginning. The Emerald Tablets do not just describe these universal laws, they explain how to use them. They speak of energy fields, of hidden forces, of methods to elevate one's consciousness beyond the limitations of the physical plane. They suggest that reality is not a single, fixed dimension, but a series of layers, and those who understand the laws of the universe can move between them. This is where science and mysticism begin to merge. String theory suggests that multiple dimensions exist, overlapping our own. Mystical traditions across the world have spoken of higher planes of existence for thousands of years. Could it be that the Emerald Tablets describe not just ancient knowledge, but a technology of consciousness, a method to access realities beyond our own? If everything we perceive is dictated by laws that respond to thought, then the next logical question is, what else is the mind capable of? If the Emerald Tablets describe the structure of reality itself, do they also contain the keys to unlocking abilities that modern society tells us are impossible? What if the mind is not just a tool for thinking, but a gateway to something far greater? What if everything you have ever been told about your own mind is incomplete? What if the abilities you have been taught to believe are pure fiction? Telepathy, astral travel, manifestation are not only real, but have been known and practiced for thousands of years. The Emerald Tablets suggest that the human mind is far more powerful than modern science acknowledges. That consciousness is not just an observer of reality, but an active force capable of shaping it. Thoth did not speak of the mind in terms of simple thoughts or emotions. He described it as a tool of creation, an instrument capable of bending the very laws of the universe itself. And the reason this knowledge has been so deeply buried is because those who understand it are no longer controllable. The tablets describe how the mind can be trained to access higher dimensions, how thought can transcend space and time, how the physical body is merely an anchor for something far greater. This aligns eerily with what mystics, shamans, and spiritual teachers have been saying for centuries. Throughout history, individuals have reported extraordinary experiences, visions, out-of-body journeys, remote viewing, and even direct communication with non-physical entities. These experiences have been dismissed by the modern world as hallucinations, as myths, or as pseudoscience. But what if they are not anomalies? What if they are simply abilities that have been suppressed? The mind, according to the Emerald Tablets, does not function solely within the physical brain. It operates on multiple levels, connected to fields of energy and information that extend far beyond the body. This is not unlike what modern physics now suggests, that consciousness may not be confined to the brain, but could be part of a larger, interconnected field. Thoth described a technique known as mind travel, a method by which the conscious self detaches from the body and moves freely between realms. This concept exists in every ancient spiritual tradition. The Tibetans call it the rainbow body. The Egyptians had the Ba, the soul's ability to leave the body at will. Indigenous shamans practiced journeying, entering altered states to travel to other planes of existence. What if these are not separate cultural myths, but fragments of an ancient, universal understanding of the mind's true potential? The Emerald Tablets imply that those who master their own consciousness can unlock abilities that go far beyond our physical limits. Telepathy, the ability to communicate across vast distances without words, is not some supernatural gift, but a natural function of an awakened mind. The ability to shift one's perception beyond time, to access knowledge that should be impossible to know, is simply a result of aligning one's mind with the higher frequencies of reality. But here is where it becomes even more compelling. The latest research in neuroscience, quantum mechanics, and consciousness studies is beginning to confirm what the tablets have stated for millennia. The human brain produces electromagnetic fields that interact with the world in ways we do not fully understand. Studies on near-death experiences reveal that people can see, hear, and experience consciousness while being completely outside of their physical bodies. Research on the placebo effect shows that belief alone can alter our biology, and quantum entanglement, where two particles mirror each other's states instantaneously, no matter how far apart they are, suggests that the very fabric of reality may be interconnected in ways that defy classical physics. If the world, at its most fundamental level, is made of interconnected fields of energy, then what does that say about consciousness? What does that say about the power of the mind? The Emerald Tablets go beyond simply stating that these abilities exist. They explain how to develop them. Thoth speaks of raising one's vibration, of attuning the mind to higher frequencies. Just as a radio cannot pick up frequencies it is not tuned to, the mind cannot perceive certain levels of reality unless it is operating at a higher state of consciousness. Meditation, visualization, breath control, these are not just relaxation techniques, they are tools to tune the mind, to receive information from beyond ordinary perception. This is why every ancient civilization, from the Egyptians to the Hindus to the Gnostics, emphasized the profound importance of controlling the mind. The Emerald Tablets describe this process in even greater detail, suggesting that those who reach a heightened state of awareness can access knowledge directly from the universe itself. And this raises an even bigger question. If this knowledge was once so widely understood, why was it hidden? Why is our modern society structured in a way that discourages deep thought, that discourages introspection, that discourages questioning the very nature of consciousness? The answer is clear. A population that understands the true power of its own mind does not need external control. It does not need to be governed. It does not need to be manipulated by fear. It does not need to be told what reality is because it can see it for itself. The suppression of this knowledge is not accidental. The Emerald Tablets were never meant to be in the hands of the uninformed. They were meant for those who seek, those who refuse to accept a surface-level existence, those who know that there is something more, and those who understand the power of the mind become something far greater than ordinary humans. They become the architects of reality. If the mind is truly capable of accessing dimensions beyond the physical, then what else have we been misled about? What other abilities lie dormant within us? Could the greatest deception of all be the illusion of limitation? The Emerald Tablets suggest that we are far more than we have been led to believe. And the deeper we go into their teachings, the more undeniable it becomes. But if the mind is a gateway to something beyond this world, then what exactly are we stepping into? What lies beyond the physical? And more importantly, how do we get there? There is a doorway hidden in plain sight, a passage that has been spoken of in whispers for thousands of years. Every culture, every civilization, every spiritual tradition has hinted at it. A way to move beyond the limitations of the physical world and step into something greater. The Emerald Tablets describe this with startling clarity, revealing that the physical realm is not the highest form of existence, but merely a single layer in a vast, multidimensional reality. What we perceive as solid, unchangeable, and absolute is nothing more than a shadow cast by higher planes of existence. And those who understand how to shift their perception can walk between these worlds. Thoth speaks of the halls of Amenti, a place that exists beyond the boundaries of time and space, where the enlightened can commune with beings of immense wisdom and power. This is not a metaphor. He describes it as a real location, an interdimensional gateway where those who have mastered the secrets of consciousness can leave behind the limits of the physical world. It is said that the gods, the ascended masters, and those who have transcended the cycles of birth and death reside here, watching, waiting for those who prove themselves worthy of joining them. But the key to entering this sacred space is not found in ancient temples or buried ruins. It is found within the mind itself. The mind is the portal. Modern science is beginning to catch up with what the ancients already knew. Quantum physics suggests that our reality is not made of solid matter, but of energy vibrating at different frequencies. The idea of multiple dimensions, once thought to be science fiction, is now taken seriously by some of the greatest minds in theoretical physics. String theory suggests the existence of parallel realities, layers of existence stacked upon one another, unseen but very real. The Emerald Tablets describe this long before modern science had the language to explain it. Thoth spoke of raising one's frequency, of aligning one's vibration with these higher realms to move beyond the constraints of the material world. Could it be that what we call ascension is nothing more than a shift in our vibrational state? That what we perceive as reality is simply one frequency we have been trained to accept, while countless others remain hidden from us? Throughout history, certain individuals have stumbled upon this truth. Mystics, shamans, monks, and seekers have all described experiences where they leave their bodies, where they move through dimensions beyond ordinary human perception. Some call it astral projection, some call it divine revelation, some call it enlightenment. But the mechanism is always the same. The mind stepping beyond the physical, tuning into a higher plane of existence. The Emerald Tablets make it clear this is not an accident, nor is it reserved for an elite few. It is a natural ability, something that all humans are capable of. The only difference between those who experience these higher realms and those who do not is awareness. The ability has always been there, lying dormant, waiting to be awakened. But if these other dimensions exist, who or what inhabits them? The tablets speak of beings of immense wisdom, entities that exist beyond time, watching over humanity, guiding those who seek enlightenment. But they also warn of others, of forces that do not want this knowledge to be known, forces that feed off of ignorance, fear, and control. This is where the story takes a darker turn. Just as there are enlightened beings working to help humanity awaken, there are also those who benefit from keeping the masses asleep. Ancient texts, from the Gnostic scriptures to the Vedic traditions, all describe these opposing forces: light and dark, knowledge and ignorance, liberation and control. The question is, which side of this battle do you find yourself on? The Emerald Tablets state that those who raise their consciousness, who purify their minds and align their energy with higher frequencies, will see beyond the illusion. They will not just understand the existence of higher dimensions, they will be able to enter them. This is not about religious belief. This is not about faith in something external. It is about direct experience, about stepping beyond what we have been conditioned to accept and seeing reality for what it truly is. And the deeper one goes into this knowledge, the more dangerous it becomes to those who seek to maintain the illusion. Because a population that understands how to transcend the physical is a population that cannot be controlled. If Thoth's words are to be believed, then reality is not a prison. It is a training ground. It is a system designed to test, to refine, to push individuals toward their own awakening. Those who fail to see beyond the surface are trapped in endless cycles, bound to the material world by their own ignorance. But those who seek, those who question, those who refuse to accept the limitations imposed upon them, they are the ones who break free. And when they do, they begin to understand that the universe is far more expansive, far more alive, and far more conscious than they have ever imagined. The greatest lie ever told was that we are small, powerless beings, confined to a single lifetime, bound by physical laws that cannot be broken. The truth is, we are limitless. We are not meant to be prisoners of this reality, but explorers of many realities. The Emerald Tablets are not just ancient relics. They are a map, a guide left behind by those who have walked this path before us. And if we follow the knowledge contained within them, if we apply their teachings, then we too can step through the doorway into these higher dimensions. But knowledge like this is never without consequence. If these tablets hold the key to transcending the physical, then why was this information hidden? Why have so few people even heard of it? What happened to the civilizations that once understood these secrets? Because according to the Emerald Tablets, there is a warning that comes with this power, one that we have ignored before, and one that, if ignored again, could lead to history repeating itself. Power is a double-edged sword. Those who seek it without wisdom are doomed to destroy themselves, and those who attain it without understanding will become enslaved by it. The Emerald Tablets do not just offer knowledge. They come with a warning that has been ignored before, a warning that echoes through the ruins of all fallen civilizations. Thoth, in all his wisdom, did not just document the path to enlightenment. He recorded the dangers of misusing this knowledge. Because history is not a straight line, it is a cycle, and those who fail to learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Atlantis was not a myth. According to the tablets, it was a civilization that had mastered the very knowledge we are only beginning to rediscover: the laws of the universe, the nature of reality, and the hidden abilities of the human mind. They understood energy, vibration, and frequency in ways that our modern science still struggles to comprehend. They built structures that defied gravity, harnessed power directly from the earth, and lived in harmony with forces that we now dismiss as mere legend. But then, something changed. The pursuit of knowledge turned into the pursuit of dominance. What was once wisdom became arrogance. The balance was lost, and the consequences were catastrophic. Thoth describes the fall of Atlantis not as an accident, but as an inevitability. Once this profound knowledge was wielded without restraint, the leaders of Atlantis, once enlightened, became obsessed with power. They sought to control nature instead of harmonizing with it. They sought to bend the laws of the universe to serve their own desires, believing themselves to be gods. And as with all things that fall out of balance, the system corrected itself. Catastrophe struck. The once great civilization was swallowed by the sea, wiped from history, erased from human memory. But not entirely. Fragments of their knowledge survived, carried by Thoth to the land that would become Egypt, hidden in sacred texts, passed down through the mystery schools, waiting for the time when humanity would once again be ready to receive it. But are we ready? Or are we walking the same exact path that led to the destruction of Atlantis? Look at the world around you. Our technology has advanced faster than our wisdom. Our power has outpaced our understanding. We manipulate the forces of nature without fully comprehending the consequences. We create weapons capable of ending all life. We alter the very fabric of reality without restraint. We seek control over the natural world instead of harmony with it. And yet, despite all this power, we remain blind to the greater truths of existence. The same knowledge that was once reserved for the enlightened has now fallen into the hands of those who would use it for dominance rather than liberation. Thoth warned that civilizations rise and fall in cycles, that humanity is given the opportunity to ascend. But when wisdom is ignored, destruction always follows. If this is true, then what does it mean for us? Are we on the verge of another collapse? Have we already set the course for our own undoing? The Emerald Tablets do not just speak of the past. They hint at the future. They suggest that the same energies that brought Atlantis to greatness and then to ruin are present in our world today. The same forces, the same knowledge, the same choices. And the question remains, will we learn or will we repeat the cycle once again? But here is where the story diverges. Unlike Atlantis, we are not bound to a singular fate. Thoth speaks of those who break free from the cycle, those who awaken before the fall, those who rise above the destruction and step into a higher state of being. These individuals are the ones who see through the illusion, who recognize the patterns of history, who refuse to be trapped in the repeating loops of ignorance. The tablets suggest that there are always two paths, one leading toward enlightenment and one leading toward decay. And in every age, it is up to the individual to decide which one they will follow. The knowledge of the Emerald Tablets is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. Because to understand reality is to have the power to shape it. And to shape it without wisdom is to invite catastrophe. The warning of Atlantis is not just a cautionary tale, it is a blueprint for what happens when power is pursued without restraint, when the mind is expanded but the soul is neglected. This is the danger of seeking knowledge for the sake of control rather than for growth. So now the question is not about the past, it is about the present. It is about you. If we are repeating the mistakes of those who came before, then what can be done? How do we break free from this cycle? If the Emerald Tablets offer the keys to enlightenment, then what is stopping us from using them? Perhaps the answer is simpler than we think. Perhaps it is not just about acquiring knowledge, but about embodying wisdom. Perhaps the path to avoiding our own destruction is not through seeking more power, but through learning how to use it correctly. This is where the Emerald Tablets separate those who are merely curious from those who are truly ready. Because to awaken is not just to know, it is to act. And those who act, those who understand the warning and choose the path of wisdom, are the ones who will determine the future. If Thoth's words are true, then there is still time. But time, as he also warned, is an illusion. And those who wait too long to see the truth may find themselves trapped in the same fate as Atlantis. The final test is not one of knowledge, but of choice. To continue living as before, unaware, unseeing, repeating the cycles of the past, or to break free, to awaken and to step into the higher reality that has been waiting for us all along. But awakening is only the beginning, because once the illusion shatters, once you see beyond the veil, there is no going back. The real question is, once you understand what the Emerald Tablets reveal, what will you do with that knowledge? Not everyone is meant to wake up. That is the harsh reality that the Emerald Tablets make so clear. Some will hear this knowledge and immediately reject it, clinging to the comfortable illusion they have been taught since birth. Others will feel the pull of something greater, but will remain trapped by their own doubt, their fear, or the sheer weight of their conditioning. But then, there are those who recognize the truth the moment they hear it. Something deep inside of them stirs, an ancient memory, an unexplainable knowing, as if this knowledge was never truly forgotten, only buried beneath the deafening noise of the modern world. These are the ones who are ready, the ones who have walked this path before, the ones who will not be able to turn away from what they now see. If you are still here, still listening, still feeling that pull, then you already know where you stand. The Emerald Tablets were never meant to be mere entertainment or a philosophy for the idle mind. They were a blueprint for transformation, an instruction manual for those who are willing to step beyond the illusion and reclaim what has been hidden from them. They describe not just the structure of reality, but the path to mastering it. And that path is not an easy one. The knowledge contained within these tablets is not passive. It is active, alive, and meant to be applied. To understand it is one thing, but to live it is something else entirely. And this is where most will fail, because true awakening is not about collecting more knowledge. It is about becoming the knowledge. It is about shedding the countless layers of illusion, breaking free from the programming of this world, and stepping into the full awareness of what you truly are. But make no mistake, this is a battle. Not a battle of swords or of weapons, but a battle for consciousness itself. The world we live in is designed to keep you asleep. Every system, every institution, every distraction is built to hold your attention on the physical, to keep you grounded in a reality that serves those who maintain control. From the moment you were born, you were trained to believe that you are small, insignificant, and powerless. You are told that reality is fixed, that the material world is all there is, that your thoughts, your energy, your very consciousness are mere byproducts of a physical machine. And so long as you believe that, you will remain trapped. But the moment you begin to question, the moment you start to see beyond the illusion, everything changes. This is why the Emerald Tablets were hidden, why this knowledge was reserved for the few who were ready to receive it. Because those who wield this knowledge without wisdom will only destroy themselves. This is why Atlantis fell. This is why every great civilization that reached beyond the limits of ordinary humanity eventually collapsed. It was not the knowledge itself that was dangerous. It was the misuse of it. And this is where the warning becomes so clear. Not everyone who seeks power is ready for it. Not everyone who desires enlightenment is prepared for the responsibility that comes with it. This is why Thoth did not leave his teachings unguarded. The Emerald Tablets were designed to be indecipherable to those who approached them with the wrong intent. Only those who seek truth for the sake of evolution, not for control, will find the meaning within them. But awakening comes at a cost. To see the truth is to no longer be able to ignore it. Once you understand how reality truly works, you can no longer live passively within it. You cannot simply return to the illusion, pretending that you do not know. This is why so many people resist awakening, because to wake up means to take responsibility for your own existence. It means no longer blaming the world, no longer looking to others for guidance, no longer waiting for permission to live as your true self. It means stepping into full accountability, recognizing that you are the architect of your own reality, that every thought, every action, every moment of your life is a reflection of the energy you put into the universe. This is the true power of the Emerald Tablets. They do not just reveal knowledge, they force you to become it. And so the choice remains: to continue living in the dream, bound by limitation, fear, and distraction, or to step beyond it, into a world where consciousness is the key, where reality bends to the will of those who understand it, where existence itself becomes an open canvas to be shaped by the awakened mind. The tablets make it clear, this is not something that happens by accident. It is something that must be chosen. The knowledge is here. The path has been laid out. The door is open, but no one can walk through it for you. The world is changing. The cycle is shifting once again. Those who are meant to awaken are being called, drawn to this knowledge as if guided by something unseen. Perhaps you have felt it, an unshakable feeling that you are here for a reason, that there is more to this life than you have been told. Perhaps you have always known deep down that reality is not what it seems, that something has been hidden from us, that a greater truth is waiting to be uncovered. If that is the case, then you are not alone. There are others who are waking up, others who see the cracks in the illusion, others who are stepping forward to reclaim the knowledge that was lost. In the end, the truth is simple. The Emerald Tablets are not just a story of an ancient civilization, not just a relic of forgotten wisdom. They are a mirror, reflecting back at you the reality of your own existence. They show you what you are capable of. They reveal the power that has always been within you. The question is not whether this knowledge is real. The question is whether you are ready to use it. Knowing the truth is not enough. Understanding the Emerald Tablets, studying their wisdom, and even seeing beyond the illusion of reality does not change anything unless it is applied. This is the final test, the place where most will fail. Because true power, real transformation, requires action. And action requires letting go of the old self, the programmed mind, the artificial beliefs that have kept you trapped in a reality that was never truly yours. This is the reason why most people will never break free. It is not because they lack intelligence. It is not because they are incapable of understanding. It is because they refuse to let go of the comfortable illusions that define their existence. But if you have made it this far, if something inside you is still urging you forward, then you already know. You are not here to stay asleep. You are here to wake up. The Emerald Tablets do not just describe the nature of reality. They reveal how to shape it. They explain the process of mastering vibration, of aligning oneself with the higher laws of existence, of transforming from a passive observer of life into a conscious creator. This is the secret that has been hidden in every ancient mystery school, buried in religious texts, encoded into the very fabric of sacred architecture. The most powerful truth of all is this: you are not separate from reality. You are reality itself. And once this is truly understood, everything changes. The first step is awareness. To see beyond the veil, to recognize that everything you have been taught about the limits of your mind, your body, and your spirit is nothing more than conditioning. The second step is unlearning. Deprogramming the belief systems that have kept you small, breaking the mental chains that have convinced you that you are powerless. This is where most people struggle, because the mind resists change. It clings to old patterns, to familiar routines, to the comfort of certainty. But those who persist, those who push through the discomfort, begin to experience the first real taste of freedom. The Emerald Tablets describe a practice that has been used by seekers of truth for thousands of years. The ability to control thought, to direct energy, to raise one's vibration to higher states of being. This is not mysticism. This is not fantasy. It is the foundation of everything. Because your thoughts are not just passive electrical signals in your brain. They are forces, movements of energy that ripple through the very fabric of reality. Every ancient tradition has understood this. The Hermeticists called it mentalism, the law that states that all things begin in the mind. The Buddhists called it conscious intention, the ability to shape reality through sheer focus. The quantum physicists, though they speak a different language, are now discovering the same truth. That observation itself changes the state of reality. But knowing this is not enough. It must be used, trained, mastered. This is why so many who begin this path do not make it to the end. They remain trapped in the endless cycle of consuming knowledge, but never truly embodying it. The Emerald Tablets make one thing very clear. This knowledge is useless unless it is lived. The shift from student to master happens only when theory becomes practice, when understanding becomes experience. And experience requires discipline, patience, and a willingness to step into the unknown. The mind is the key, but the body is the vehicle. The Emerald Tablets describe the importance of harmonizing the physical with the spiritual, of aligning one's energy with the greater currents of existence. This is why meditation, breathwork, fasting, and energetic discipline have been so central to every ancient tradition. The body is not a prison. It is a tool, a finely tuned instrument that, when properly aligned, allows one to navigate the unseen realms, to access higher states of awareness, to shift between the dimensions of existence. This is why those who are deeply lost in the material world, those who poison their bodies with artificial food, artificial thoughts, and artificial distractions, struggle to awaken. Because awakening requires clarity. It requires purification. It requires stripping away everything that is unnatural, everything that dulls the mind and numbs the spirit. But the greatest challenge of all is fear. Because to step into your own power is to step into the unknown. To take full responsibility for your own reality is to no longer be able to blame external forces, to no longer seek guidance from the institutions that profit from your ignorance. And that is terrifying for most people. Because once you know the truth, you can no longer pretend. You can no longer live as a victim. You can no longer follow the scripts that society has written for you. You must create your own path, and that is the true test, the moment where one either steps fully into their awakening or retreats back into the safety of the illusion. The Emerald Tablets were not written for the masses. They were written for those who have the courage to apply their wisdom. They do not promise an easy path. They do not promise instant enlightenment. They promise only this, that those who are willing to do the work, those who are willing to transform themselves, will discover a power beyond all imagination. This is not a metaphor. It is reality. And those who walk this path know it. They do not need to be told. They experience it, because once the illusion is broken, there is no going back. Reality is no longer something that happens to you. It is something you create. The only thing standing between you and that realization is a choice. The choice to act, the choice to become, the choice to break free. And for those who make that choice, the world will never be the same again. The Emerald Tablets were never meant to be just read. They were meant to be lived. They were not written as a passive observation of reality, but as a guide to transformation, a blueprint for those who are ready to step beyond the illusion of limitation. But this knowledge is not for everyone. It has never been, and it never will be. Some will hear these words and dismiss them, unable to see past the deep programming that has shaped their entire existence. Others will feel something stir within them, but will hesitate, trapped between the comfort of the familiar and the magnetic pull of the unknown. And then there are those who will take action, those who will recognize that the truth has been waiting for them all along, those who will refuse to turn away. The world is shifting. The great cycle is reaching another turning point. The Emerald Tablets speak of the rise and fall of civilizations, of the cosmic forces that govern not just individuals, but entire epochs of human evolution. And now, once again, humanity stands at a crossroads. We live in an age where knowledge that was once buried is now resurfacing. Science is beginning to confirm what the mystics and sages have known for thousands of years. That reality is not what it seems, that consciousness is far greater than we have been led to believe, that the power to shape our own existence has always been within us. And yet, at the same time, we see a world that is falling deeper into confusion, into division, into fear. Because when the truth rises, so does the resistance. When the light emerges, so does the darkness. Those who seek to control have always feared an awakened mind, and never before has it been more important to break free from their grip. But the path of awakening is not a comfortable one. It is not easy. It requires breaking away from everything that has been conditioned into you from birth. It requires letting go of the false security that has kept you tied to a system designed to suppress your potential. It requires moving through fear, through doubt, through the endless distractions that are designed to keep you looking outward instead of inward. And it requires something that most people will never do: taking full responsibility for your own existence. The Emerald Tablets make one thing abundantly clear: knowledge without action is meaningless. Awareness without embodiment is nothing more than entertainment for the mind. To truly step into this knowledge, you must live it. You must train your mind to move beyond the distractions of the material world. You must discipline your energy, master your thoughts, and understand that everything you experience is a reflection of your own state of being. The moment you stop waiting for external validation, the moment you stop looking for someone else to tell you what is real, is the moment you reclaim your power. Because the truth is, no one can do this for you. No one can walk this path except you. There will always be those who seek the easy way, who look for shortcuts, who want someone else to give them the answers. But the Emerald Tablets were never meant to hand anything to you. They were meant to force you to earn it. This is why Thoth did not leave his knowledge in the hands of the unprepared. He encoded it in symbols, hid it in myth, and ensured that only those who were willing to seek the truth for themselves would ever find it. And that is the final test. Not whether you can read these words, but whether you can apply them. Whether you can stand in the face of everything you have been taught and still choose to see beyond it. Whether you can recognize that the power you seek has never been outside of you, but has been waiting within you all along. But this is not the end. This is only the beginning. Awakening is not a destination. It is a process of unlearning, of deconstructing false belief systems, of stepping into a version of yourself that has been hidden beneath layers of conditioning. It is a path that demands discipline, patience, and courage. And most of all, it demands a willingness to see the world as it truly is, no matter how uncomfortable that truth may be. For those who feel the call to go deeper, to continue this journey beyond what can be spoken of openly, the door is open. Insights Academy exists for those who are ready to step beyond surface-level knowledge and into the kind of understanding that changes lives. If you are one of those people, sign up for our free newsletter in the description. Inside, you will gain access to deeper teachings that cannot be shared here, along with a free digital copy of the Kybalion, one of the most profound Hermetic texts ever written. But more than that, you will join a movement of those who refuse to remain asleep, those who are ready to take the next step, those who understand that this knowledge is not a secret to be kept. It is a responsibility to be lived. The Emerald Tablets were never just about history. They were never just about philosophy. They were a message, a reminder, a call to those who are ready to wake up. And now the choice is yours, to take what you have learned and allow it to fade, or to use it. To step forward or to turn back. To remain part of the cycle or to break free from it once and for all. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, I understood it